Hi, welcome to Own It, Day 6, exploring our identity and how we are designed. And specifically, how are you designed? And how am I designed? And I'm going to borrow some quotes and images from The Wizard of Oz, which is iconic for thinking about how characters and how people are specifically designed. You can't get away from the courage of the lion, the heart of the Tin Man, and the brain of the Scarecrow, and of course, their fearless leader, Dorothy. So let's dive in. Okay, identity. How am I designed? Well, there's a lot of components that go into us humans. We're fairly complex. We are made up of interests, talents, personalities, characteristics. But first, let's dive into what even just those words mean. So, characteristics are individual or peculiar or distinctive, um, indicating a special quality or identity. Characteristic applies to something that distinguishes or identifies a person, thing, or class. Talents are often something special about you, and often expressed through athletic, creative, or artistic aptitude, or sometimes through general intelligence or mental power, special abilities, and other natural endowments of a person. Interests, the state of wanting to know or learn about something or someone. Personality, this is a pretty complex one. It's a combination of all of these things, a combination of characters or qualities that form an individual's distinctive characters. So, how does this all come together with a person? Well, there are our natural abilities and talents and interests. These are things that we are born with, God given things, and how we're designed. There are learned things that happen throughout our lives. These might be oftentimes referred to as skills, but you can certainly learn other things, sports, even if you're not a naturally gifted, let's say, sportsman or maybe singer. Those come to mind often for people. They are things that you can learn. Environment and experience. These things that shape us as well, our family of origin, our jobs, our schools, our churches, all of these contribute, influence, cause. These are all things where characteristics can come from. Then there's a concept of primary versus secondary. So sometimes we have supporting skills or talents or characteristics that might be necessary to support our primary talent or skill. Or sometimes there are things that get revealed and maybe we didn't know there were latent talents or experiences that get revealed through learning a skill or practice or training. And they can happen early in life or even later on in life. So there's no timing rules to this, although, well, we'll talk about that on the next slide. Then there are our characteristics and or spiritual gifts. These often are described as things like people are natural leaders, or they might have a gift of teaching or storytelling, service, hospitality, caring for others. Which leads us also into our next. There's some overlap there of personality types. And this can also be expressed through things like that come out in the same way, but there are just overall personality types that we often think of. Um, the introvert versus the extrovert. Are you loud? Are you quiet? Some people are in between. Some people have a lot of mixed personality types. There are a lot of people that really are bold, some people that might be timid, some people that naturally just move fast through life and are intense and forceful, and those, me included, that are a little slower and maybe like to think things through and think things through sideways and upside down and all around, and you get my point. So there's a lot to how we are designed. It's not a really super simple thing. There are some things that can help us, and one that I have found helpful is an acronym called SHAPE. And this was a term developed by Rick Warren in his best-selling book, The Purpose-Driven Life. The word shape refers to 5 specific characteristics of who you are. And this is spiritual gifts, heart, aptitude, personality, and experiences. So all of those come together to form our shape or our design. There's also, if you want some additional help and homework, and we'll talk about this on the next slide as well, there are a lot of personality tests that you can take to help you unlock or dig a little further into this. A very popular one right now is the Enneagram. There are very simple ones. There is the Myers-Briggs test. Within the church, there's a church version of the Myers-Briggs, and you can do a Google search and find lots of these for help. But here's a fun quote from The Wizard of Oz. "If I ever go looking for my heart's desire again, I won't look any further than my own backyard, because if it isn't there, I never really lost it to begin with." So let's dive into maybe some journaling prompts and questions to consider as you uncover and reconnect with how you are designed. Identity, how am I designed? Some journal prompts and questions to consider as you try to find some points in your life where you might be a little bit out of alignment. If you are not honoring how you are designed and or suppressing any of this, it can cause a lot of background stress and noise in your life and in your brain and in your body. And this could be one of the underlying reasons that you may be turning to a drink instead. Or maybe you're very clear on how you're designed and there's something from maybe the prior days that is out of alignment. But still, if you're drinking, it is going to suppress a lot of the energy and the focus and the want to, and a lot of things that help us express how we are designed. So we'll start off with Glinda, the Wizard of Oz, the Good Wizard. You've always, not wizard, Glinda, the Good Witch, sorry, from the Wizard of Oz. You've always had the power, my dear. You just had to learn it for yourself. And since we're talking about witches in the Wizard of Oz, we also have the evil witch. And sometimes we like to refer to our drinking habit as that evil witch. So we're going to stick with that acronym. And I want you to really analyze how you spend your time, dig back to when you were young, look at your calendar, and find out where that bad witch is getting in your way of how you are living or not living to your full potential of how you were specially designed. And let me just say right here, you are specially designed. Sometimes life can happen, responsibilities get in the way, big life events happen that sometimes get us defeated and out of sorts, and then we forget how special we are. But let me just take a moment here now to tell you how special, how wonderful, how just much not only I love you because you're here and you're working on this and you are owning it, but because the God of the universe says so. He had every moment of your life in mind and specially designed when He created you before you even existed. So, with those uplifting thoughts in mind, let's take some time to explore whether you're journaling with the written word, with your journal with a pen, or you like to do what I like to do a lot of times, which is a walking meditation or journaling just with myself and thinking. And then maybe sometimes while I'm walking, I might even pull out my phone and take some notes and start to connect some dots and find out where you can live more in alignment with how you're designed. Okay, so let's just read through the questions. What activities do you enjoy most? And then I want you to don't just stop there, explore why. And what specifically about those activities do you enjoy? What did you enjoy doing as a child or a young adult? Again, keep asking the question why. It's not enough to just write the things down. Why? We want to know what was it specifically about that and those things. And then also if it's a combination of talent and skills and interests, like maybe break it all out between the different things and personality types. And was it learned? Where did that start? Is an experience that you really liked that brought out a talent in you? Oftentimes in school, we might have had a teacher that recognized something in us and really brought something to life out of us, or maybe a relative. So go back and maybe try to interview yourself and remember some of those moments and things when you felt special, when you were engaged in something. What made you feel special? Like, yep, this is it. I'm doing this. And even as you grew and before real life happened, quote there, and maybe before you had to start paying bills and the weight of just the responsibilities of being an adult, what were your interests and hobbies then? Why? Why? Why do you think you might want to, what do you think you might want to do if you had unlimited time, unlimited energy, unlimited money, like sky's the limit? What would you choose to do? That's a fun exercise. What would your family and friends say about you and your talents and your main characteristics and personalities? Sometimes we are just too close to ourselves. And, especially if we have gotten out of alignment with honoring ourselves and, the energy's not there, like go back and interview the people that know you. And maybe even I'll include your boss in there and coworkers. Um, if you need help with this. Now we're going to get a little bit further and why we were going back to the whys of why, why. Are you and can you use some of your underlying skills and talents in a new way? So that's why I wanted you to specifically like break down some of the activities. And just for example, I will, as a child, I wanted to be an archaeologist. Well, what was it that I really liked about that? I loved learning history. I loved people. I loved the idea of digging things up and finding things, like being a detective. Um, There's a lot of research involved. As an adult now, I can look back and see that there were a lot of clues in me wanting to be an archaeologist, that I can take those same skills and interests and apply in a very different setting. I am not going to abandon my family to go on a dig site for 6 months. And I also at one point wanted to be a chef and an artist. I like drawing people. Well, what is it about that I really liked? Well, it's extremely creative. I get to really express and experiment. I really like experimentation. And this gave me an opportunity to do that. So there's lots of things, though, in the world when I look at a wide array of activities to do, where I might be able to put those things to use. So, and now the finale. Once you've gone through this list and you have everything journaled and identify some, key things that you really like to do, and maybe think of some new ways in which it can be applied, because sometimes we just, like I did, I just got stuck in those boxes. But as soon as I started to unpack that and see the wider application, then I could look at maybe the next question, which, what can you do to add things into your life to honor how you are designed? Can you volunteer? Can you change a job? Maybe that's a possibility. Maybe not overnight. It's a process, but maybe it's something that you need to consider. And maybe you could start a hobby in the meantime. Or, if you're not ready to change jobs, maybe something can start happening on the side, that a little pleasure, or I call it a passion project. Maybe there's, something that you can reintroduce back into your life. So I think that's enough for today. I hope you have a lot of fun reconnecting with yourself and relearning about how special you are, because I think you're awesome and amazing.